Oh, how can you call people on the right Nazis if Hitler was a socialist? Well, boss, because a frequent tactic of fascists is that they co-opt language from unrelated things. Same with authoritarians. It's why communist China or China adopts the language of communism and talks about how they have the People's Party, but they're really an authoritarian, centrally planned economy that engages in capitalism abroad. So you understand that you shouldn't be believing what Nazis said about themselves, right? Because Nazis called themselves National Socialists, but do you know why they called themselves National Socialists? It's because in the political landscape of 1920s Germany, um, there was significant support for leftists. There was significant support for socialism and communism in Germany, um, and so they co-opted the support of that by calling themselves National Socialists, when in reality they were fascists, organized around racial hate and bigotry and nationalism. So like that's why Nazis are far right conservatives, and that's why everything that if you talk with a neo-Nazi, everything they believe aligns with far right conservatives. Um, and yeah, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, right? Um, but also is for one. No, the point of capitalism is for a select few to exploit a vast working class as much as possible, to accumulate as much as possible. And if you have bought into the system and you aren't one of the capitalists who is making money doing nothing, then you're just a sucker. It's fallen for propaganda. Um, Let's see here. JC is right. Your version of socialism has some decent aspects to it, although not completely realistic, IMO. The issue is that radical politicians you support don't want that. They want. Well, no. Bernie Sanders actually was the one who proposed the plan that I mentioned that I think is actually a really good idea of making any company's sale first subject to being bought out by their employees. Um, and turned into a worker co-op. I think that that's actually a really wonderful way to start a slow transition towards normalizing worker co-ops as the go-to business model in the U.S. Um, and I also think that, for example, Medicare for All, which makes healthcare free at point of sale, I think that that's something that actually lays the groundwork for the decommodification of healthcare in our country. So there are a lot of things that the people that I support, the politicians that I support, are doing to move towards my end goals of what I propose as being a better way to live our lives and organize our society. But I think the other important thing to recognize is that I don't support individual politicians. I like Bernie Sanders. I like AOC. But they're also not my friends. They're politicians. And so I support individual policy positions that are based in facts and logic and reason. Um, and those are the things that I support. I don't necessarily support individuals. Let's see. And I also don't think that AOC or Bernie Sanders are fascists. I think saying that belies a misunderstanding of what fascism is. So just throwing that out there. Maybe I encourage you. By the way, if you have a little bit of spare time, just Google Umberto Eco's 14 points. Um, and Google Umberto Eco's 14 points. He's a Italian philosopher who lived underneath Mussolini's fascism, and he spent his life studying fascism and philosophy. And he summed up what many consider to be the best summation of what fascism is into 14 different traits that fascism tends to exhibit when it emerges around the world. So um, look that up. It's actually a really short read, and you can find it for free online. Google it. I implore you. It's actually really good. I've gone over it numerous times on stream, so I'm not going to go over it again right now. But it's a really useful tool to help you understand a little bit better what being a fascist entails. And it helps you recognize fascism when it rears its head. Um, I'm a capitalist. Streaming is my business. Well, no, I'm not a capitalist. If I was a capitalist, what I would be doing is I would be paying streamers, and then those streamers would be just forwarding me, you know, their ad revenue, and then I would pay them like half the ad revenue and keep the other half for myself. Like that's what I would be doing if I was a capitalist. But if I'm running a channel and I'm doing the work myself, I'm a worker, even if I'm self-employed, right? So that's different. Do you consider Hitler a fascist? Absolutely. Um, Gringo Nut, like these people aren't going to read the Antifa handbook. Okay? uh, would be on Mount. Yeah, so, yeah. Century Dish is right. If we made a second Mount Rushmore, an evil shadow Mount Rushmore, a Mount Rushmordor, if you will, Hitler would be on it. Um, No, but I do think they ascribe to a very similar ideology, and I actually went through it. I've gone through it now a couple of times, but yeah, Trump exhibits a lot of the hallmarks of fascism. The difference between Trump and Hitler, Taylor Swift, is not whether or not they're fascists, because they are both fascists. It's just that the context in which Trump currently exists does not enable him to wield as much power as Hitler did in Nazi Germany. Um, so, like, uh, for example, if Trump could, he's already expressed the desire to cancel the election. If he could get away with that, he would. Um, or for another example, he's expressed the desire to. He had literally, like last week, said on uh, television during an interview that he wants to see Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Obama arrested. He wants to jail his political opponents. So, like, yeah, he's a fascist. And you can like you don't even have to like look deeply into the things that he says and does. Like, it's like very blatantly obvious fascism. Like, I again, Taylor Swift, I encourage you to go read the 14 points and think about Donald Trump, and he embodies pretty much every single point. No, they didn't get caught spying on his campaign. He just repeatedly lies about it, and he gets away with it because he's the president of the United States. Um, Boss, no, your concept of socialism is not good and clearly indicates that you haven't been paying attention to what I said. Um, uh, I look, I don't think that Hillary is innocent. I think that Hillary has done a whole fuck ton of bad shit, okay? Most of our major politicians have, okay? But the one, you know what Hillary wasn't? Hillary wasn't a fascist. Hillary was still, if Hillary had won, she still would have had an election this year. Like, Hillary was not talking about how she wanted to cancel the elections and jail her opponents and like these blatantly obvious stuff. Taylor Swift, like, I she's a like run of the mill neoliberal like neoliberal politician. It's not like super complicated here. Well, Taylor Swift, that's the thing. Why do, a fascist doesn't ever just hand over power. What a fascist does is either refuse to hand over power or muddy the waters to such a degree that they can be like, oops, we don't know who won, but I'm the one in power, so I'm not going to leave. Like, common fascist tactics are is what that is. And like that's why he keeps harping on about voter fraud, even though every Republican like study into voter fraud has indicated that it is not a major issue at all. Um like we're talking like, maybe 100 votes out of 300 million, okay? Um no, stacking the courts is not a fascist tactic. Um is Keith Oberman also a fascist? I don't know anything about Keith Oberman, okay? But I have made the argument that many conservatives do fall into the fascist category because a lot of them believe a lot of the fascist things that Donald Trump espouses, which makes them fascist. Um, no, Hillary isn't still saying that the last election was illegitimate. Hillary was saying that Russia interfered in the election, but she's also never seriously tried to contest the election. Well, Taylor Swift, if he wants a fair election, like every study that has been done on the fairness of elections in the United States has indicated that yes, they are indeed fair. There is no problem with voter fraud. And the reason he keeps harping on about how there is voter fraud is so that he can lay the groundwork for him to maintain power by purposely muddying the waters. That's entirely what he's doing. Um, I mean, Treble Clef, I think you need to look into what fascism is a little bit more. You realize Hillary told Biden not to concede under. Well, yeah, Hillary might have told Biden that, but that's because, again, his opponent is deliberately muddying the waters about the legitimacy of the election, despite having no evidence that it is actually going to be an illegitimate election. Like, you realize, like, the points that Trump keeps bringing up as, like, points in favor of, like, it being an illegitimate election are actually, like, blown vastly out of proportion. Like he keeps bringing up, yeah, ballots were misplaced on a military base and they had my name on them. Well, like if you look into that story, it was 9 ballots and only 7 of them had Trump's name on it, and no one knows why they got misplaced on that military base. If you look into one of the story about like he keeps talking about tens of thousands of ballots got sent out in like North Carolina or something, um, and if you look into that, what happened was a third party that was paid to print the ballots for the government sent out misprints. And so they had to send out a second wave of like ballots because that first round of ballots couldn't have been used in the election. So it doesn't matter if they're out there. So like stuff like this is just like normal whoopsie daisies that are getting blown out of proportion. And the fact that you're latching onto this as like legitimate worry is very worrisome because it tells me that you're buying into fascist propaganda. And like you're just believing him because it's him saying it, which is an awful reason to believe someone. Uh, Frankly, especially someone who is $450 million in debt to unknown benefactors, okay? Um, let's see. I lost track of chat here. Um, well, look, Treble Clef, that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. Like the idea the idea that the courts have never been politically motivated before is hilariously wrong and ahistorical. So like if that's your conception of the courts, like you're just not informed about how the courts operate, okay? You just buy into the idea that they're impartial. Like Journalists aren't impartial, and neither are courtrooms, okay? So, like, yeah, the courts are political. They always have been. Um, I'm pretty sure this is where they got their takes on socialism. You should watch it. Uh, Albseth, follow me over on Twitter at Riverboat Jack and send me that link. Because I like links do not appear in chat, but I am interested to see what you tried to send me. Okay. Do you think big pharma is fascist? No, I think big pharma is an aspect of like capitalism. Big pharma is not a like is not a politician. Although the idea that there would be a politician named Big Pharma is pretty funny. Um, Hitler took money from the rich and poor people and used it to grow the German military. Well, Hitler did a lot of things in Nazi Germany. I'm not sure what you're trying to get at. Hillary did say the 2016 election was stolen from her. Would you consider that fascist rhetoric? No, because she's never seriously tried to contest the election in any way. She might have said that, but she's a salty lady, okay? She's also completely irrelevant. So whatever like Hillary is doing these days, I don't give a shit. Um, but you act like he has complete control. There's a Senate and House for a reason, checks and balances. Well, look, you don't have to like here. Maybe here's the disconnect, Taylor Swift. You don't need complete control in order to be a fascist. You know, like a Nazi is still a fascist, whether or not that Nazi has political power. Like Hitler was still a fascist before he became the leader of Germany. So like the ability to enforce your fascist views on others is not a prerequisite for being a fascist. So yeah, Trump is a fascist, but there are checks and balances on his power, which is exactly why we're not in the same like situation that we were that Germany was in the 1920s. Um, I would love to see that video. Um, Puck Flicker. I don't know what you're talking about. There are a lot of people talking right now. Um, so impeachment proves Trump has too much power. No links in chat. Yeah. Sorry, Bronze Age chat. I don't have links in chat because we tend to get some Nazis, and I'd rather not have Nazi links in my chat. But you can tell us what your video is about. I'd be interested in that. Um, New to the stream, are you male? No, I'm not. I'm a lady. Um, it is fascist. Hitler also stacked his courts. Well, yeah. Look, leveraging power is not something that make leveraging power is not a hallmark of fascism. Like, yeah, fascists leverage power, but you know who also leverages power? The president of the fucking United States in a democracy. So like the idea that fascism and power are go hand in hand is ridiculous, okay? So like your conception of what fascism means, Treble Clef, is just fundamentally wrong. And there's like nothing else to say to that. Um, why does Big Pharma support Biden? Well, Biden isn't a leftist. That's the reason. Biden is a liberal. Biden isn't even a liberal. Biden is a neoliberal. Um, Big Pharma supports neoliberals because neoliberals support corporations. Um, like Big Pharma is a capitalist entity. They're supporting Biden because they think they'll make more money under Biden. It's not that complicated. Can you touch on the Sackler family? I don't know anything about the Sackler family. Um, well, Archangel DeKalb, I am fundamentally against the existence of big pharma because I think healthcare is something that should be decommodified. So like the existence of big pharma runs counter to my ideology. Yeah, like honestly, I wish Biden's as cool as all of you people think he is. Um, don't have Twitter. Um, yeah, don't add me on Facebook, please. But I do have an Instagram that you all can follow if you'd like. Um, Jane TA 6769. Okay. Um, so what happens when someone you don't want to be in power gets power? Then they stack the courts. Well, look, I mean, ideally, what I think should happen if you're going to stack the courts is that after you stack the courts, you make it so that people can't stack the courts again. So like that's what you should do if you want to stack the courts. You know, you cross the bridge and then you burn it after you cross it. Okay. Um, and I think that it depends on the situation whether or not stacking the courts is justified. Like obviously everything else in politics, there's a cost to doing that, and whether or not the cost is worth it depends on the situation. Um, well, no, the Supreme Court would still exist, treble clef. It would just have more people on it, which presidents have added more positions to the court in the past. So, like, it's not like it's outside of what democracies do, okay? So, like, acting like stacking the court undermines democracy and eliminates the third branch of government is just not true to history in any regard, okay? How is Trump a fascist? I would go over it again, except that I have gone over it. I went over it yesterday during a 7 hour long stream, and I went over it like a couple weeks ago. So like, I have a highlight that you could watch on my Twitch channel or on my YouTube channel. If you're really curious, I go over Umberto Eco's 14 points and how those match to Donald Trump and the modern GOP. Um, Yes, also, Umberto Eco's 14 points are very short. You can read them in like maybe 15 minutes, and they're available for free online. So you literally just have to Google Umberto Eco 14 points, and you can, for yourself, read them and see if maybe the comparison is valid, okay? Was Trump a fascist when. Nah, I think Trump was largely apolitical when he was doing reality TV. Um, uh, but it does. Fascism means a strong central government, a top-down government. No, that's authoritarian. Like a strong centralized government under one leader is authoritarian. That's not what being fascist is. Um, like you can be a fascist if even if you're not living underneath an authoritarian government. Okay. Um, look, Treble Clef. I keep saying you can Google Umberto Eco's 14 points, which is what I base my definition of fascism on, and it's available for free. So please do that because I've gone over it so many times. Unless you all really want me to talk about it again, which I guess I could do, but like I don't know. Come on, want to debate with me? Why would I want to debate with you? Uh, I disagree with you like author socialites, but thank you for not banning me. I have to go. Well, boss, I don't ban people who disagree with me in chat. My goal is that I want to be able to figure out how to reach people who don't agree with me. Like that's why I do this. So like yeah, I'm not gonna ban you. I'll ban people who are like JQing in my chat and like advocating genocide or something. But like I don't know, like a couple weeks ago, I was talking with a anarcho-capitalist who wanted to own women. Um, so like, yeah, I'll talk with anybody. Okay. Um, let's see. When did Trump become a fascist? Well, I'd say probably when he started running for president and like really hammered down what his political positions were going to be. Um, like I don't know when in his heart like his ideology formed. Like I'm not Elrond. I wasn't there when the ring was forged, you know. But like like it's been a bit. Um And Hitler, same. I don't like big pharma. Probably learn. Oh yeah, his dad was a not was likely a Nazi and a member of the KKK. Oh, Bronze Age Chad. I'm not a dude though. You're just factually wrong. Um, and Big Pharma supports Biden because he's a Democrat, not liberal. Well, no, they support him. Look, Big Pharma isn't like some secret, really complicated thing to understand. They're just a collection of companies, and we live in capitalism. And you know what companies are made to do under capitalism? They're made to make money. So when they support someone, they support someone because they think they're going to make more money if that person happens to win the political contest. So that's why Big Pharma supports Biden. They think they're going to make more money. It's not rocket science. Treble clef. Do you really want me to go over the 14 points? I can do it. I can do it if you really want me to, okay? Let's see. Oh, wait, what did you miss, Puck? Oh, yeah, no, I don't hold it against you that you missed a segment, okay? Don't worry about it, okay? No hard feelings. Wait, rogue enabler? Are you saying that all women can get pregnant? Are you saying that there are no infertile women? Um, let's see here. Let's switch over to this. You just said Democrats should seize control of the court through fiat, and you call that well, yeah, treble clef. Like leveraging power is not is not the thing that determines whether or not a group of people are fascist or not. Um, like your definition of fascism just seems to be like a political entity doing something, which is not what fascism means. Okay.